Good afternoon, everyone. Palm oil prices going up. People switching to soy, too expensive. Historic cold wave ripping through India down to Bangladesh. So what's going to happen to our food prices moving forward? And pipes icing up here. Would you like to take a shower of this coming out? Trying to keep the roads clear as well. Dangerous job on the edge of cliffs, Himalayan road clearing. I wonder if they get special wages for that, because when I'm looking at these types of snowplows, deep snows, something they haven't seen in almost 50 years of the depths this early, paralyzing. The Himalaya to Jammu and Kashmir. People huddling, burning anything they can to keep warm. Air pollution in Delhi to the excruciatingly high levels. We're going to jump over to the anomalous ridge, and you can see that pattern whited out for you. The high, extreme cold, incredible clear skies below that low with the blue line. Ice meets in the middle between the two. Massive snowstorms blanketing low elevations, Jammu, Kashmir, Shimla, all the way down to Delhi, getting really cold, not snowy. But the ice is coming. They're warning everybody right now. Get ready for the ice storm of the century. And this is departure from the average temperatures here. Some of these areas 5 to 7 degrees below the normal. And that icy front is going to sweep through. All the warnings are out. Cold wave gripping northern India, followed by heavy rainfall. And these icy temperatures is going to be 3/4 of an inch of ice on the roads. Can you imagine trying to drive through some of those mountain passes? They're going to be cut off in the mountains for quite some time, depending how that will thaw out through the season. And also that ridge, which is a vortex, polar vortex, going all the way down central India, getting near mid-tropics where that Arctic cold is going to touch. But icy air, and as you see that purple where it gets to the deep and darker purples, that'll be the line of ice that's following, getting dragged down with the moisture. A little bit clearer here to see it. Incredibly high winds moving out through the 21st of December, but you can see where it's going to be funneled down to right where it's about 1008 millibars on that low is about as far as the cold will extend. But going directly east of that, you run into Myanmar, Burma. There is a stampede of people running to the markets to purchase clothing. And the cold hasn't even really hit yet. It's going to be coming through the 20th, 21st, 22nd. This is going to make the subcontinent grind to a halt. And glacial streams, you can look at it in two ways. There's two different ways to view this, as either a sign that, well, something is definitely changing, or you can look at it in a different fashion of fear. But either way, the choice for your reality is many times A or B. Up to the cold wave, and they've already had many bouts of snow, low elevations, really rare this year, in any year as a matter of fact. But what's Lahal and Spiti up in Himachal Pradesh, these temperatures are 20 degrees Celsius below zero, which is approaching like 15 to 20 Fahrenheit below zero. Everything is icing up to the point that drinking water's not flowing. Things have just frozen to an icy planet. Now that Trump will return to the White House, it's time to consider your retirement and portfolio. The Wall Street Journal said gold will outperform stocks in 2025 as Trump threatened BRICS countries with 100% tariffs as they move away from the U.S. dollar. Since 2022, gold has surged 40% after the U.S. seized Russia's assets. That was a wake-up call for central banks around the globe to diversify their reserves away from the dollar and into gold. Now Goldman Sachs warning the S&P will generate paltry returns over the next decade. At the same time, Goldman Sachs said Trump's presidency will light a fire under gold, pushing it to $3,150 an ounce. The threat of stagflation, our national debt, tariffs, and global de-dollarization will ignite gold prices. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. And the Patriot Gold Group has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. No Fee for Life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call. 888-546-7020 for your free investor guide today. And remember, Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated IRA gold dealer for the 7th year in a row. That's 888-546-7020. I understand the Himalaya, but there's an enormous amount of regions where this flows year-round. And it's already creating problems with infrastructure and, again, people trying to get to their water source, for a better term. And this is infrastructure in itself. It doesn't have to be a giant bridge collapsing. What if nature stops the flow of water and turns it into ice? Which brings me to the differences for the Maunder minimum and Dalton minimum, which I've arrowed for you there on the Dalton minimum, 1815 approximately at the depths of it, right side. I put that arrow so you can see exactly where the same freezing is occurring. Well, it's actually a little more widespread, more like the left in the Maunder minimum, 1640. But everywhere in that darker blue is at least 1 degree Celsius cooler. As you can see, Dalton minimum not as deep, a lot of variance in there. But what it does show is it can get a lot colder in these same places here. Moving over to the Tibetan Plateau in Qinghai, Kalimantan Desert, if you come back toward India, we're going to find some reconstructions right there as well. May to June, this would be coming into the summer months through time. You'll see the dips. That deepest dip to the left there is the Maunder minimum, 1610. It shows the coolest, but really around 1640 was the apex of that one. And you can see how these temperatures would affect society, especially if you're relying on what we saw before, the ice flowing out of those hoses. If that freezes up completely, they lose their water. Then we can see how that could reflect your ability to get water. Like once those hoses freeze up, they're pretty much frozen for most of the season. So the urgency to keep them pumping and keep them flowing, like once your pipes freeze up, and they would break, imagine our infrastructure as well, those in the southeast U.S., those pipes aren't very low below the ground. Once they break, then what? Well, we got leaks and you have to fix it. But in the middle of the time before fixing, how are you able to get your water then? Where are you going to go? You're going to have to walk up in there. You're going to have to, chip off ice and snow and come down and melt it versus having a flowing source. That in itself is orders of magnitude, time-wise, difficulty-wise, fuel-wise, to get the same resource nature provided for you for free, flowing water. It takes it to a whole new level. What's about to happen through the lower Himalaya and parts of Pakistan and India right now. And surfing through the news, I found this from the summer. Glacial lake burst, rolling downhill, incredible ferocity, the chunks of ice, just in incalculable amounts of water. And how fast could you get out of the way is the question. Pulled this off of Bangladesh. The news feed here, the Daily Star, heavy rains hit Malaysia, and that means slashing the palm oil output again for December and the projections. So at least as of November, Malaysian crude palm oil production almost 10% declining from a month ago. Not a year, a month. This is incredible, and they're looking at December forecast even further down. I mean, Malaysia's been 100-year floods, every storm for weeks and months in a row. So the production of this type of thing, that's why a lot of people are switching right now over to soybean oil in the interim until they get this palm oil, because the palm oil prices are screaming northward, running away like everything we've seen so far in our food stuffs. These are Bangladeshi prices here. And if we look at August 5th, September 5th, November 14th, for example, for potatoes for 1 kilogram, 57 to 70. All right, this is some significant price increases in just months. We're talking like 10, 14% runaway pricing. The only thing that's come down is egg prices. But soybean oil up, loose palm up, sugar up. Rice seems to have stabilized somewhere, but that's state stabilization price. Just like they were talking here in the U.S. about stabilizing prices. Well, that's what you're looking at right there. So the farmers, you think they're going to grow if they're going to grow at a loss and they can't raise prices? I don't think so. That would create more rice shortages and you get into the feedback loop. Then we got onions running away too. So that whole household cost for them to live and buy is significantly more. And then I found some other charts through the publication here, food inflation topping 14% for the first time in 13 years. Yeah, it's starting to hit starting to hit everywhere. And the economic crisis there is just a reflection of what's happening across the planet and why so many central banks are buying gold. Trend of food inflation, you can see it hit that high point there, 14.1% in late July. And you look at the bottom, food inflation in rural and urban lands. Rural is the yellow, green is urban. But for me, I thought that would have been very, very different because producers of the food are out there in the rural areas. So, I was envisioning something very different on the chart. It's actually shocking to see this for me. So you can just expect your food prices to continue to go up. I'm just showing you other areas on the planet, and through these last videos I've done too, over in North Africa the same, in Europe the same, in South America the same, in the United States and Canada the same, and it's the same everywhere. Our food prices, if you would look at the charts I dissected from the United States Department of Agricultural Supply and Demand estimates in November of this year, show that at least wheat, corn, and coarse grains, we consume more on the planet right now than we can produce. So we're digging into the carryover stocks. That's now out public information. I had spoken about this years ago that we were there and I thought the numbers weren't correct the way they were measuring it. And sure enough, what the numbers are and how quickly those reserves will be depleted and why our world is shifting so quickly. Is it because of the available food and they know that the non-availability of food is going to so high the food is going to get in pricing or unavailable that it will change society itself as we've seen through history? Are they trying to front-run the changes of angry, hungry people is the question. I do thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And if you're thinking about getting ready, Storable Foods, My Patriot Supply, and Adapt 2030. Get the 4-week food kit and some free bonuses when you order today. That link's in the description box below, along with all the charts and links to jump out to these stories that I talked about tonight across the Indian subcontinent. See you next time. Bye for now.